Hey guys, Templestorm Rasma here, and I'm here to talk to you about the upcoming changes with Arena, with the Arena balancing and the new cards that have been added with the Karazhan offering bonus that you'll see, getting that extra chance of drafting the new cards from Karazhan, which just became live, just came live about a week ago. So you're going to be seeing the new cards a lot more often than you would see of any particular older card. And this is more of a arena class tier discussion. We're going to be talking about the effect of the new cards being offered at a bonus with the removal, with the arena class balancing of certain cards for certain classes. And we're just going to discuss, and I'm going to give you guys some reasonings for why I think certain classes will be a little bit stronger, why some will be weaker, and why some will probably just stay the same. But before we start, I think one thing we have to do is we have to think about what these cards are. These are all class cards. The cards that are being removed from Arena completely because of the balancing are all class cards. And if you look at all of them, they all have about like 3, 6, 7 cards removed. And what that does is it makes the chance of getting the other class cards, since there's a limited number of class cards, and there's already a balance, there's already a offering bonus for class cards when you're playing a certain class. This may be something you guys don't know, not a lot of people do know it, but whenever you pick Mage, you're more likely to draft like a Fireball than you are to draft like a different common card, like a Chillwind Yeti. You're already getting that bonus, but with the additional bonus of the Karazhan update, you're going to be so much more likely to draft these card bonuses. For the first time in Arena history, we're getting cards removed from the class card pool, and also at the same time, well, I mean the first time ever for this happening, right? We've never really removed cards besides Purify for Priest, but for the first time that is happening, but also we have an offering bonus for the newer cards. So these cards are going to kind of shape what Arena will be for the upcoming weeks. I'm not sure exactly how long these offering bonuses last for, but I do think it's like a month or two or a couple of weeks, something like that. But it should definitely be very flavorful for Karazhan. You'll definitely feel the Karazhan flavor playing Arena. But yeah, if we look at these cards, a lot of classes have a bunch of class cards being removed, which makes it a lot more likely for them to be drafting the newer cards, right? Or even the existing class cards, because class cards are more likely. One thing I do notice is that certain classes are not getting this change, and depending on what class cards they have in their old pool, in the new Karazhan pool, that'll make a bigger impact, or bigger impact definitely, but for better or for worse, we don't know until we actually examine which cards are being offered more relative to the cards that are being removed. So you see Mage and Rogue only get 3 and 2 cards removed. That means that the effect of the new Karazhan cards is going to be felt a little bit less in those two classes, and same thing with Paladin, because they're not getting any class cards removed. You won't be feeling as much of these 3 cards as you would with the other classes, so just keep that in mind, and we will try to keep that in mind ourselves when going over these cards. So which classes are strong right now? Which classes will be strong because of these changes, and which classes will be left in the mud? I'd say for most people, they would probably count Mage, Rogue, Paladin as being the stronger classes pre-Karazhan offering rate, and also pre this balance change, right? So Mage, Rogue, Paladin are on top, and then a lot of people would also agree that Hunter and Priest are on bottom. I like how they ordered it like this. I wonder why they ordered it like this. Maybe this is Blizzard's own special like win percentage. They put the weaker classes on bottom, because this is uncanny, this ordering. But yeah, Hunter and Priest. Will Hunter and Priest still be the bottom 2 classes, and will Mage, Rogue, and Paladin still be on top? Let's see. Mage is losing Forgotten Torch, Snow Chugger, and Faceless Summoner. So these are the 3 cards that Mage that Mage is getting balanced and are being removed from Arena. So I'd say for the most part, these are 3 pretty strong cards. Not anything like super S tier like Ethereal Conjure, Flame Strike, Polymorph, Fireball, but definitely like B plus A tier cards, like excellent cards. But Mage has so many good class cards that I don't think that this will hurt them so much. Like if you think about the effect of this, and you should think about it in the same way for all these classes, is instead of a Forgotten Torch or Snowchugger Flame Faceless Summoner, they're gonna get replaced with a random Mage card when a card class card selection is offered, right? So I mean, given that Mage has so many powerful cards, I don't think this makes that big of an impact. I don't think it makes that big of an impact to remove these cards. But let's see what cards Mage are getting. They're getting Firelands Portal, which we all know is a great card. Babbling Book, which is a 1-mana 1/1, and you get the card back, so it's pretty much free tempo on turn 1, where you might not even be able to play anything on turn 1. Great card. Medivh's Valet, 2-mana 2/3, pretty much a replacement for Snowchugger. It could be better or could be worse depending on if you can get the Battle Cry to work, or if you would use the Snowchugger's Freeze, if that would help. Honestly, overall, I would say that the cards that they're losing momentarily, and since this Karazhan offering bonus is only momentary as well, I would say that Mage is fine. I don't think Mage is getting much weaker. You know, you can look at it look at it like this. Faceless Summoner is replaced by Firelands Portal. Snowchugger is replaced by Medivh's Valet. Forgotten Torch replaced by Babbling Book. I don't think you get like I don't think you are hurting too much from those trades. So honestly, if anything, I would say Mage gets a little bit stronger during this offering bonus for Karazhan. I would expect to see a lot of Babbling Book plays and early on from our opponent Mages during these upcoming weeks, which means that if you're playing against a faster type Mage, it might be a little bit hard to stabilize and then try to win off card advantage against a Mage. Especially with the Firelands Portal offering bonus. I think it's pretty safe to say that Mage either stays equally as strong or even gets stronger during this season, we'll call it. Rogue is losing Goblin Autobarber, Undercity Valiant. Rogue once again has a lot of great cards, and I don't think that, you know, if you're losing a ping off Undercity Valiant, it's a big deal. You get a lot of pingy type cards in Rogue. Same thing with Goblin Autobarber. There's the Buccaneer, which I would say is better than Goblin Autobarber, so you just curve it out to play Buccaneer on 1, Hero Power on 2. Goblin Autobarber, oftentimes you're, you know, playing it on 3, you lose tempo. There are like certain things that this implies though with these are both 2-drops. So what you'll see less from Rogue is you'll see less reactive plays early, and then them flooding in the mid-game turns. Because oftentimes with Goblin Autobarber plays with Undercity Valiant, you'll often see like Hero Power on 2 and then play 3, and then they save their weapon and they play Goblin Autobarber into Undercity Valiant combo on turn 4. And so you'll see a lot of flooding on 4 and a lot of split plays is what we call them when you play multiple minions on the board. It plays around things like Fireball on 4, like hard removal on our opponent's like mid-game turn. So you're not playing a Yeti that gets Fireballed, you're playing 2 guys, and it's a much more specific answer that they need to remove that type of board from Rogue. So you'll be seeing less of that, and I think that in itself does make Rogue a little bit weaker. But let's look at the cards that Rogue are getting an offering bonus from. You got the Ethereal Peddler, which is pretty much just a 5-mana 5/6. You won't really see this effect go through with Ethereal Peddler too often, so I won't even talk about it. It's just a 5-mana 5/6, which is great. Pit Fighter, great stats. Deadly Fork, 3-mana 3/2 with the Death Rattle 3/2 weapon. I don't personally like the card, but I don't think it's a bad card. I think it's okay. Swashbuckler is insane. 1-mana 1/1, add a random class card to your hand as a battle cry. So very similar to the Babbling Book, where you just get the card back, and it's just free tempo on turn 1. So I would say like these cards are great. The cards that Rogue are losing are pretty great. I'm gonna say that we kind of push there. We push. It's not much worse or much better, especially when you're considering it's Rogue. You know, one of the all-time most powerful classes in Arena. I don't think that Rogue is going to be hurting that much. Do keep in mind though that Rogue already does have a lot of 5-drops, Ogre Ninjas, and Shadow Pan Riders and whatnot. So it does get a little bit iffy there, because you're gonna get a little bit 5-drop blocked. You want to call that in your draft. You'll get 5 cost card drop blocked. You want to be careful of getting too many 5s, and you're losing a lot of 2s as Rogue, which isn't a big deal since you usually don't mind hero powering too much, and that's kind of a replacement for 2-drops. But it is something to keep in mind, that you should be wary of drafting a little bit too high with Rogue. And what else do we have? Paladin, no changes. Paladin's not losing any cards. And what are we getting a bonus of? So because Paladin's not losing any cards, you'll feel this Karazhan bonus a little bit less, not that much less, but a little bit less for Paladin. They're getting Ivory Knight, 6 mana 4/4, Discover, a little bit slow for Paladin's tempo style play, especially since a Paladin with no board is really no threat at all. So not the greatest card. Silver Moon Portal, in my opinion, is really strong. It does that 2-pronged attack, kind of very similar to what we talked about with the Rogues playing Undercity Valiant and Goblin Auto Barber on turn 4 together. So it has that 2-pronged attack, which makes it a lot harder to play around or play against when you're playing against this card. Then you get Nightbane Templar, which is a little bit weaker. If you're holding a dragon, some of the 2/1/1 whelps, a little bit hard to get through, but 3 mana 2/3 is not a huge discount. And you do get, like a Dragon Consort as Paladin. I'd say overall, definitely between like Mage, Paladin, and Rogue, Paladin's got the weaker Karazhan cards for Arena. And you're not really feeling the effect as much because they're not losing any cards with the balance changes. You're not losing any cards with the balance changes. I think I honestly would kind of avoid playing Paladin. Like, these 2 cards are not that fun, and with the bonus, I'd much rather play something like Mage, where you Firelance Portal or Babbling Book and just spam these cards. Even Medivh's Valet is a lot of fun. But I mean, yeah, Paladin without Silver Moon Portals is really not that exciting to be playing with a bonus offering rate of these cards. I'm gonna say that overall, I think this is because there's no changes with the arena balance. You kind of have to see the other classes and how they would change, and relative to the other classes, Paladin will get stronger or weaker. So we'll come back to Paladin and see if we think it got stronger or weaker. Here with Shaman, Warlock, Druid, Warrior, and Hunter and Priest, pretty much just weak cards is what they removed. With Rogue and Mage, because they're already strong in Arena, they removed great cards or like good cards. With the weaker classes, which is everything else, pretty sad, right? They removed weaker cards. Things that you might not consider weaker cards, maybe something like I don't know, Reliquary Seeker, kind of, depending on how you draft. I think it's harder to draft Reliquary Seeker and make it work. You really gotta know what you're doing, so even that's like, I can't really say that it's not a weaker card, because it generally is. For most people it will be. We got like Mark of Nature, which is a little bit off, but also not the greatest card, right? What else have we got? Cobra Shot. A lot of Hunter players, a lot of good Hunter players are sad about this loss. But yeah, Cobra Shot may not seem like the thing to remove to make Hunter better. And here, Inner Fire, no more combos for Priest, right? But for the most part, all the other 5 classes, they removed other 6 classes, I'm sorry. Other 6 classes, they removed the weaker cards, and so what you'll be seeing is, you'll see the cards that are not in this list shine a lot more. So you'll be seeing a lot more Fire Elementals and whatnot, just because the increased chance of getting it, because it's a class card with it, and also the impossibility of drafting these cards, right? So you just have a smaller pool to draft from, and you're getting a more specific pool to draft from, which consists of mostly stronger cards. So we got to keep that in mind, and Shaman has some great class cards, right? It's a class that's almost defined completely by the class cards. Things like Fire Elemental, Lightning Storm, Hex make this class very flavorful for the class cards. And what cards are we getting offered? Bonus Maelstrom Portal, which I would say is like pretty good to okay to pretty good again. Wicked Witch Doctor, 4 mana 3/4. Whenever you summon a spell, summon a random basic totem. So, you know, it's a underdrop for 4. Not a very strong card. And we got Spirit Claws, has a +2 attack while you have spell damage. Also not that fantastic. So honestly, I feel like this balances out pretty well. Like, you're getting an increased chance of getting the older cards, sure, but you're also getting an increased chance of getting these bad cards. Well, mostly bad, and like okay, nothing like spectacular here, like with like Mage and Rogue. Honestly, I feel like Shaman won't get too much stronger or weaker just because this kind of balances it out. And keep in mind, guys, that this all changes again. Once they remove the Karazhan offering bonus, all of this will change again, and we're gonna have to do this all over again and talk about what classes are better and weaker. So be excited for that. We'll have another video coming up whenever that is. But yeah, I don't think Shaman's gonna get that much stronger or weaker. So we'll just move on. Warlock, we're losing 7 bad cards. And what are we gaining? Silverware Golem, 3 mana 3/3. If you discard this minion, summon it. I would say that this is like average to above average. I think it's very easy to pull off this combo. And it allows you to draft greedy cards like Doomguard and Succubus and Soulfire, which are really high tempo, and even like value, because you know your tempo is directly related to value in Warlock, since you can trade your tempo with your hero power into card advantage. So those two things are directly related in Warlock and very easy to trade one for the other. So yeah, it's above average card since you can, you know, make those trades happen with your mana 2 cards. And 3 mana 3/3, even if you play it on curve, it's not too bad. The only way it's bad is, you know, if your opponent has like a Spider Tank or Ogre Brute. But I mean, given the chance to play it on the board for free, it's pretty good. Karazhan, not very necessary. I know you do get like a 6/6 out of this. This is very similar to a Silverhand Knight, which is also a really good card. But Karazhan's a little bit weaker because one problem you have in Warlock is, you know, you're already flooding. You're playing a floody class that plays a lot of low health, low cost minions, and this is just all that in one card. So yeah, you do get it in one card, but at the same time, when you have an already floody board, you don't want to flood more into it. You want to play something like a Pit Fighter, something with a lot of health that can survive the AoE, and that way you get your 2-pronged attack, right? You get your floody minions, and then you get that big guy that will survive the consecrations and, you know, holy novas or whatever. So, you know, given that it's in Warlock, I'm gonna say that it's like average, a little bit slightly below average. Malchezaar's Imp. Whenever you discard a card, draw a card. Worse than Voidwalker. It's really hard to get this card to do what it needs to do, and plus you're not gaining cards, really. You know, you're just replacing cards. So maybe you have a very unique strategy of drafting really good cards and really bad cards, and you like to draft a lot of discard, and you want to replace those bad cards. But that, honestly, I don't think anyone has that strategy in Arena. So overall, if we're getting an offering bonus of these 3 cards, I'm going to say that Warlock is getting slightly weaker. Slightly weaker. Because Warlock is not like Shaman. It's not very much defined by its class cards. It's more defined by its hero power. And you tend to have a lot of fun with just very strong neutral cards, very strong neutral minions as Warlock, because you can just flood them out and, you know, use your hero power to tap and whatnot. So I'm going to say Warlock gets a little bit weaker, but more important than whether it gets weaker or stronger, these cards are just boring. I could see you, like, with this offering bonus, maybe you can try drafting the, like, every single discard card with, like, Soulfire and Doomguard and whatnot. That could be pretty fun if you want to try that out. But if you're just trying to play a standard Arena without any shenanigans, that we'll call them, without any shenanigans, I'm going to say that Warlock got a little bit weaker here. Druid is up next. Druid lost 6 cards. Druid lost 6 cards, and what cards did we gain? Moonglade Portal, 6 mana, 6-drop, plus the 6 heal, and you can also heal minions with this, so I actually think this card is great. Probably not as good as Firelands Portal, but pretty good nonetheless. Menagerie Warden, this card is amazing. 6 mana, 5/5, choose a friendly beast, summon a copy of it. So you can play Stranglehorn Tiger on 5. They can't kill it because it's, you know, obviously stealth. You play Menagerie Warden on it, and all of a sudden you just played a 6 mana 10/10. Insane. 1 mana 2/2. Not the worst, not the best, but with Druid you can start drafting those Mark of Yasurajas and get the Druid synergies up, the Druid Beast synergies up. Honestly, these 3 cards are so good, especially these 2. Think about this. Druid has a lot of Beast synergy now. And with the removal of cards like these that have no relevance to Druid Beast synergy, you're getting the Druid synergy cards like Wild Waker, Mark of Yazuraj, whatever, you know? You're getting those Beast cards a lot more often. Even like that Savage Combatant is a beast, you know? Like every like good-ish card is kind of like beastly in Druid. And you're getting an offering rate bonus to these 2 that synergize with those cards? Oh my god. That is insane. And Moonglade Portal in itself is awesome too. It's really good. Honestly, I actually like, this is like me going over it for the first time, but I did think about what classes I did think would become much stronger and much weaker. And Druid is probably the class that improves the most. So I'm not saying that it's the class that'll become the strongest, but it definitely has the best improvements from the offering rate bonus of these, and also the removal of these cards for the balance changes. So wow. I myself am itching to play Druid with the offering rate bonus, and I feel like you guys should too. And honestly, this is just the basic talk about these classes. We can go way more in depth into this, and to do that, well, all we have to do is you look at the offering rate bonus for the neutrals as well. You know, you got neutrals. What classes do these neutrals work the best with, right? What classes are missing 2 drops or 3 drops, and there's like a good number of low drops, and what classes don't need this? If you keep that stuff in mind, you can go more in depth. Also, also what? There was something right after that. But I mean, this is just a basic talk about how I think the classes perform individually, and how the class card, certain class cards will define the classes that are, when they're played in the upcoming weeks. But yeah, we're just gonna move on. Warrior losing 7 cards. Warrior losing 7 cards, which keep in mind that you're only losing Ogre Warmaul. You're only losing Ogre Warmaul for your weapon. So you're getting you have a lot of weapons in the warrior pool, and you're getting a really much higher chance of drafting a weapon for warrior now. And also, warrior has an increased chance of drafting this warrior card, specifically this weapon, warrior weapon card, Fool's Bane. I don't think it's that great. It seems like a lot of the other streamers I've talked to actually do like Fool's Bane a lot. I don't think it's strong because I think you're bleeding out too much, and it's just a mix of Doomhammer and Assassin's Blade. A lot of people thought Assassin's Blade was great in the early ages of Arena, and same with Doomhammer. A lot of people thought Doomhammer was great, but as time went by, people realized, hey, I can't even use this for removing. So not only is it a wasted mana, it's just face damage. But you look at something like Fool's Bane, it's not able to go face, right? So you're just losing a bunch of health if you can use it. If you can't use it, then it's a dead card. If you have no health to use this with to hit minions, you can't even hit face with it. So it's kind of worse than Doomhammer and Assassin's Blade in that way. But there is something to be said about Warrior being a very kind of a slow class and not a lot of tempo swinging cards. Like, sure, you got Executes with like 1 damage combos. That's one big way for Warrior to get tempo. You got Brawls. You can brawl off a big board and then you can flip the board. But this is one more way. For 5 mana, you can remove 12 health worth of stuff on the board, which is good. But honestly, I don't know if that trade there is worth it, really. That's a bit much. What have we got here? Ironforge Portal, probably the worst portal out of all the ones that have come out. Gain 4 armor, summon a random 4-cost minion. Pretty bad. You don't really need those warrior hero powers. Here, protect the king. For each enemy minion, summon a 1/1 pawn with taunt. Also not very good. You don't want to let your opponents like build a board for this to be good. Like if you let your opponents build a board where you're getting full value, like 7/1/1s, you're probably not in a very good spot unless you have some brawls coming up. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily find any of these cards too attractive. So these getting an offering bonus, I don't love it. But I mean, with the removal of a lot of bad warrior cards, and warrior is one of those classes that suffers from having a lot of bad cards, a lot of bad class cards, and a lot of them are being removed right here. So, you know, maybe warrior's okay. I'm gonna say that warrior gets a little bit stronger, tiny baby bit stronger. Here, hunter, we're losing 7 cards out of hunter, and we are gaining cat trick. After your opponent summons a spell, summon a 4/2 Panther with stealth, so that's the easy way to play around flame strikes and whatnot. Here, and then we have Cloaked Huntress, which is pretty insane. With the offering bonus, the cat trick, and these synergizing well, I think you can have a lot of fun with Hunter these upcoming weeks. You're, yeah, get those secret hunters, drafted. Kindly Grandmother, pretty good card, 2 mana 1/1 with 3/2. So pretty much that one damage that you can't do as Hunter, since your hero power doesn't ping, you have the ability to use a 1/1 for it, and then it becomes just a standard 2 mana 3/2. Pretty good cards for Hunter. I am looking forward to playing Hunter quite a bit in these upcoming days, weeks, months, however long it is. I really got to figure out how long it is, but yeah, I would say Hunter is getting stronger. A lot of strong tempo cards. Like, you're essentially getting a 2 mana 4/3 for this 2-drop. You know, the 3 mana 3/4 is pretty standard. It's 3 mana 3/4 standard, but also like standard for 3 drops is really good because there's not a lot of 3 mana 3/4s. But you're getting that added secret tempo, so that's pretty cool. I would say Hunter's getting a good amount stronger, actually. Hunter's getting a good amount stronger, probably enough to push it out of being like the worst. Like, it used to be bottom 2, it's probably not bottom 2 anymore, it's probably like bottom 3, 4. So congrats, Hunter. And for last but not least, maybe last and least, I don't know, 7 cards removed from Priest. And what are we getting for Mr. Priest here? Onyx Bishop, summon a friendly minion that died this game. I think depending on your deck, this could be great, and also depending on your deck, this could be horrible. So if you're drafting a lot of value early game cards, no Jeweled Scarabs, right? You don't want Jeweled Scarabs or Novice Engineers to get the 1/1s. You want really, you want like 2 mana 3/2s and 2/3s and 3 mana 3/4s, like just value early game cards. Then Onyx Bishop will work well. But overall, you can make a draft strategy work with this card. And that's the most important thing. If you're being forced into certain cards, like you will be in Karazhan, if you're being forced into certain cards like Onyx Bishop, then you need to be able to draft around this strategy. And if it's summoning a friendly minion that died this game, it's going to be just drafting stronger early game. That's it. And we can definitely make a strategy around that. So I'd say that this is overall a bonus. It will make Priest stronger because you can strategize around it. Same with Priest of the Feast. Very strong card. 4 mana 3/6. Yes. Now Mage is not the only class that gets a 4 mana 3/6. 4 mana 6 health minion. So that's insane. I'm really happy. Priest is definitely the class that deserves something like this because it's so weak, and you need to get on board early. And this is something that'll help you stabilize on board, definitely. Especially with 3/2s being 2 mana 3/2s being pushed out of the meta. You're getting a lot of 2 mana 2/3s. If they even have one 2 mana 2/3 and a 3/2, then you stabilize. Because that's only 5 damage. This has 6 health, you stabilize. If they use a ping to help finish this off with that combination, then they already used 2 mana, you're gonna stabilize on 5, right? So I mean, great card. Honestly, I see some Priest dominance coming. Purify is not in Arena. This is a card that was removed before even the balance update, so you can just ignore this. But yeah, I can see Priest getting stronger. You're gonna see a lot of like Priest turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 they win combinations with these card balance changes and the offering bonus for Karazhan. I expect people to draft very strong 1, 2, 3, 4s and just dominate with these 2 cards. Like, just slam them down, get a lot of buffs, get some Shadow Word Deaths, clear the board in the mid-late game, and then they can't remove your board as Priest anymore. So until the Karazhan bonus offering is gone, I would say that Priest is going to be pretty dominating if you realize that this is a strategy that you can use. So So just make sure that you keep that in mind, that you want to tempo out really strong in the early game as Priest now, more than ever. So we've gone over all the classes and the specific cards that they're losing and the specific cards that are getting an offering bonus. What class do I think will be the strongest? Honestly, I'm not sure. Honestly, alright, let's try this. I honestly think that Rogue and Mage will still be top, but I think a new class I can add to be on top for these until this update is over, right? Until the Karazhan bonus offering is over. I'm gonna have to say that I'm gonna say that Druid is up there. I'm gonna say that Druid might even be stronger than Mage or Rogue. Like, I mean, we've already gone over how strong the beast energies are in Druid, and these 3 cards being offered at a bonus is so great, so great. I'm gonna say Rogue, Druid, Mage on top, and then Priest and Hunter. Actually, Priest, Hunter have gone up. I'm gonna say Priest, Hunter are in the middle of the classes now. Priest, Hunter are in the middle. No, so before they were the 2 worst classes. I'm gonna say that they're centered. They're not too great, they're not too bad. They're probably in the middle, a little bit below Paladin, maybe right under Paladin. And on bottom, who would I say is on bottom? Shaman. I kind of want to say Shaman, but at the same time, these cards are not great, but Shaman's gonna get their hexes and their fire elementals and their lightning storms offered more. But it's not as much. So like, with me saying that these cards are offered less, so every other class card is offered more, yes, but it's not going to be impacted that much as these are offered more. Like, these are going to be offered way more than something like Fire Elemental Hex or Lightning Storm, right? So maybe like Shaman is weaker. I mean, who else would I put with Shaman? I kind of want to say Warrior. I honestly think Shaman and Warrior are back on bottom, which is kind of sad because I kind of see like the cycling of like the weaker classes being put on bottom. Like Shaman and Warrior, you know, hashtag Arena Warrior matters, right? And like Shaman hasn't been known as like the strongest class before. Like before Whispers of Old Gods, Shaman was damn close to the bottom, if not the worst class. But like now it's like Hunter and Priest. It seems to cycle with like Hunter and Priest being the worst, and then Shaman and Warrior being the worst, and then maybe next update we'll see Hunter and Priest be the worst again. We'll have to see. This is, of course, we gotta wait until the Karazhan offering bonus is done, and then we can take a better look at just the banned cards, the cards that are banned, and how that affects the different classes and their position relative to one another. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Obviously, this is just me going through like somewhat quickly, just giving my thoughts. We could make a more in-depth video about like what classes these certain cards help more, but I'm not gonna do that. This is just just basic discussion, and tell me what you guys think. What do you guys think about my tier list? And once again, to go over it, I'm gonna say, Mage, Druid, Rogue on top, no particular order. Hunter, Paladin, Priest, Hunter, Paladin, Priest, Warlock in the center, no particular order. And then Warrior, Shaman on bottom, no particular order. That's probably my tier list for classes. Tell me what you guys think. And if you guys have any questions, leave it in the comments, whatever. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys next week. See you later.